Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back for another video. Someone reached out to me and asked if I could do a little guide on the Guardian ring. And I thought, you know what, that's actually a decent idea because I had a little look around YouTube and I haven't really seen one in a while, at least that's kind of covering everything that I would like to cover today. So without further ado, we're going to dive in. We're going to talk about faction guardians, empowering, duplicate champions in general, what to do, what definitely not to do. So let's get it. Let's see what we can do. Guys, before we move ahead, there's going to be a new player promo code. It's going to be waiting for you in the pinned comment as well as the description of this video. It's going to get you off to a solid head start in raid with a legendary and 3 epics as you level up your account. And if you want that, just follow these instructions. You'll want to log out of Plarium Play on your PC and uninstall the game. Click the link in the description, register with a brand new email address, launch raid, complete your tutorial, go to your inbox and claim your first free champion. Like I say, this is a good one. You don't want to miss it. You know what to do. So the Guardian ring, a little bit underrated and I think actually a little bit forgotten in the grand scheme of things. Now, I've done a whole bunch of takeovers where one of the first things I'll always check on someone's account is where they're at with their faction guardians. And when I go through and I see lots of zeros, but I check in their champ roster and I see lots of +1s and +2s, I think, right, we need to make some changes. So I don't have access today to the account that I've got in mind, but I'm just going to sort of demo on my account what I think you should and maybe shouldn't be doing. So right off the bat, I just want to cover the sparring pit. Now, you do not need to invest gems into the sparring pit like I have. I just use it a lot, so I figured long term it's going to be a bit of a gain for me. Now, I am always, there is no exception. I've always got something leveling up in the Guardian ring. Doesn't matter if there's a champion training, event or tournament going on. It's just something that's always passively happening in the background as I'm playing this game. And what I really like to do is level up these, I think they're called Incubus guys, and you actually get them from just doing the Brimstone Path side of campaign, which is pretty much where we're all farming campaign, either stage 6 or stage 3 if you want a little bit more silver. So one thing I did notice, and you know, this is a habit of mine, I pretty much only use these guys, is it was actually really running down my supply of Force Brews, because I was kind of using them all the time just on those champions and no one else. So that's when I decided to invest a few gems into the Guardian ring. And that was simply to save me on the brews. But what it kind of got me doing was just utilizing this feature a lot more. I just leave champions in here and they level up. If I've got ones over here, now these are a different level. You know, these are level 3 out of 3. These are just level 2 out of 3. They're obviously going to gain XP a lot slower. What I do in here, in these last 2 slots, is I put champions that I am kind of planning on building. And I will always take them to level 52 and only 52. And at that point, I will throw them in Minotaur and do their masteries. I kind of figure it's a bit of an efficiency loss if we take them all the way to 60 and then run them through Minotaur. That kind of just seems like wasted XP and therefore it's less efficient use of our energy. So if this is something that you're not currently using pretty much all the time, I advise you just jump in and do it. Just have your first 3 slots. You don't need to take them to level 3. Just always make sure there's something in there farming food for you. And then, you know, when you wake up in the morning, just click it and you've got another level done. It's just passive earning. That's pretty much the most simple way that I can put it. So on to faction guardians. When should you do it? When shouldn't you do it? What do we do with duplicates in general? All pretty valid questions. But I would always say, and you know, this is a absolute blanket rule. If you pull a duplicate champion, the first priority for that duplicate should be some form of faction guardians. The stats that you're going to receive isn't unique to just the champion. Like it says up here, it applies to the faction stats of all the champions of the same rarity. So if you fill this up here, like I've done, and we've got our 10 speed bonus, 10% defense, accuracy, resistance, attack, and HP, that's kind of all of the stats. That means that every single legendary in that faction that I use is going to have all of that as a bonus. It seems to me kind of crazy to deny yourself that, to just literally invest in a single champion. It's, again, it's all about efficiency. This is just a game of efficiency. and you're just going to gain every time that you actually use your faction guardians. The same applies to epics. Now, until recently, I haven't actually been using the rares, and that was simply down to space on my account. There's only a handful of rares that I use now. You know, endgame player, the kind of draw of a rare isn't as spicy as it once was. There are obviously exceptions. We've got things like Cold Heart, and I've probably, yeah, in Dark Elves, see, I've got this leveled up with all of my Cold Hearts, just because that's a champion I use, therefore it's worth the investment. Now, as of recently, in any shard pulls I've been doing, I have actually been going through and filling up my rares, kind of for the sake of this video. So I would always say, as a #1 priority, especially with legendaries and epics, you should always focus faction guardians before any kind of empowerment. So as of recently, we did get a handy little feature that they implemented, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of demonstrate that now. This is kind of the first time I've actually done it. I have done my research and I know it's not going to completely ruin my account, and that is the new commission feature. Now, as you can see, I've got 2 level 1, whatever this guy is called, can't think of his name. He's just in there, and he's also in my vaults taking up space. Now, I'm never going to use these level 1 champions. It's just not really something I'm going to do. The same could probably be applied here. Look, I've got 4 of these guys. I'm never going to use 4. They're just in there simply to boost my faction guardians. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on these guys and I'm going to commission them. What that means is I will no longer be able to use them. For all intents and purposes, they are pretty much gone from my account, but their bonus in faction guardians still stays. So we'll commission it like this. Are we sure? Yes, we are sure. We're going to commission. And then, as you can see, for some reason it's jumped over there, but these 2 champs are no longer on my account, but their bonus is. We're going to do it again for these guys here. We're going to commission them because I'm just never going to use them. There we go. So what I've essentially just done is gained 4 free spaces in my vaults, which is always helpful because we've always got too many champs, and I've still somehow managed to keep the benefit. It's a cool little feature. When I first read about it, I couldn't quite understand what it meant, but since diving in here and having a look, it now makes a little bit more sense. So now that the first 2 are covered, let's talk about empowering and when you should and maybe when you definitely shouldn't empower. Let's start with shouldn't. If your faction guardians are not full, don't go empowering champions. It's just a waste of stats for the rest of your account. Like, don't hold yourself back. Why not allow yourself to get stat boosted? I always need more stats. This is a game of stats. The more you've got, the better you're going to do, the further you're going to progress, the less of just a pain in the arse the game becomes. So empowering only happens once you've done your faction guardians. Doesn't matter if you just pulled the most amazing legendary 5 times, get your guardians done first. So who would I actually empower? For a late game player like myself, I've kind of got to the point now where I'm just empowering everyone for the sake of empowering everyone, because ultimately we can't deny we like the extra stats. Now, someone that I'm going to be doing a guide on, it's either come out by the time this video has or it'll be kind of soon thereafter, is actually going to be Fayne. Now, he is my absolute #1 favorite epic DPS in this game. He hits harder than most legendaries. Hits harder than a lot of mythicals. If we look at his empowerment stats, look at all that extra stuff that he got. That is so solid. Champions that you use and that you know you like are definitely viable candidates for empowerment. Now, don't make the mistake that I see a lot of people make. Let's say, for example, you are running Seeker in your clan boss team and it is a speed-tuned clan boss team. If you empower your champions, it is going to add speed, so that might just break your tunes. So always double check what you're about to do before you do it. Don't just pull it and go, wicked, cool, I'm well excited, boom, let's empower it, and then go, oh, why doesn't my clan boss team work? Pay a little bit of attention, don't jump the gun with stuff like this, because the last thing you'd want to do is ruin a team that already works for you. But if we do jump back to Fayne, as you can see, I've got him at +4 because I like him. And because he will benefit more from just being better. It sounds crazy stupid to say, but the more you can put on him, the better he's going to perform. And ultimately, then the more I'm going to want to use him alongside some of the better champs that I've got on my account. So that's kind of all I would really say about empowerment. All it does is it makes your champions better. so definitely do it. Just remember to only do it once you've done your Guardians. Just keep that in mind and you won't just completely kind of screw yourself at any point. Right, now lastly, let's talk about the unbind feature and let's talk about the token trader feature. I have actually unbound a whole lot of champions because for some reason, whenever I pull shards in this game, it seems to really like giving me this guy. I think his name's Holsring, and it's really frustrating, but hey ho, I've already got the faction Guardians complete. I didn't want to empower him because I don't use him. So in the end, what I did is I just unbound them. Now I'm sure if I scroll through here, I've still got other candidates that I could consider unbinding. Got a whole bunch of, basically they're like the third copy of a lot of champs that I've got. Now for each legendary you unbind, you get 500 of these tokens. And I've only done it really because I'm forever in hope that something awesome is going to appear in the token trader. Let's have a look at what we've got here. There's actually some incredibly solid champions. The two on the left, they rotate. Now I can't remember, I think it's like 6 months. They change every 6 months. We're 3 weeks away from it changing now. I don't know why I've got this in my head, and I will at some point go back and actually research this. I think there's only 4 champions on the rotation, and you get 2 for 6 months, and then you get the other 2. I think it just cycles those 2, but I hope I'm wrong and that actually it brings in another 2 every 6 months, because for the last, well, this batch and the last batch doesn't really appeal to me. I think one of the previous options was actually a champ called Noble, and Noble is actually used to empower Ninja. So I think next time it comes around, if nothing has changed and we're just going to get the same rotation again, I probably will grab Noble and just make Ninja stronger, because kind of why not? But if we ignore the 2 on the left, let's have a look at the 6 that are available. Now, Sir Nick is a very good champion. Like, he genuinely is a good champion. I personally don't have a whole lot of use for him anymore. He does have his unkillable, so that could be really good for opening up some clan boss stuff. We've got Foley, who I'm not kind of crazy on. He is a very strong DPS, and he's got his block revive mechanic when he does kill people. But I would kind of only really want to use that in the arena, and I just don't think he brings enough for kind of meta arena play in 2025. But still a good champ, but certainly wouldn't be my first candidate. Then we've got Tomb Lord. He's very cool. He's a bit of a poison kind of demon. He will help you in content, but once again, I've got other champs that already do it for me. I certainly wouldn't sacrifice essentially 6 duplicate legendaries just to get Tomb Lord. Fushan, very solid. You know, he has a stun on an AoE. He has a chance to place an extra hit on his A1, and he does put out decreased defense. So he's actually incredibly solid. Plus he's got a speed aura. Then on to my 2 favorites. If I had to pick between the 2, I would probably say that Morley is my favorite. And if you are just breaking into Hydra, then I think she is a bit of a no-brainer, because she's one of the few champions in this game that does have a chance to place her provoke for 2 turns. This will just massively reduce your requirements for getting those early Hydra teams put together. I think she's incredibly solid. Plus, she's got a revive, and when she does revive, she puts a block damage on whoever she does revive. On top of that, she increases your team's turn meter whenever she gets hit. So that kind of leaves Minaya, and she would be my second favorite, kind of because I think she's one of the coolest looking champions in the entire game. It's like a kind of pirate Snow White. If you are struggling to get Amius rotations down, her A2 with the heal reduction plus her A3 with the heal and the block debuffs is absolutely awesome. Plus she brings a shield, and Amius can't flip the shield. So I would actually argue she's a very strong candidate, and she's actually the cheapest. So that is like the whistle-stop tour of the Guardian Ring. Just kind of off the top of my head, duplicate champions in general, who would I build 2 of? Well, Hydra kind of changed to the game, because obviously you can only use that team once and you've got to put 3 teams together. If we look at these presets here, I would really love another Lady Mikage, because of her synergy with another Shadowkin, where when she attacks, the other Shadowkin attacks. I would love to throw out maybe a second team that kind of copied this, but maybe used her and someone like a Boro, or maybe even bring Ninja in. Obviously, everyone wants 2 Lydias, but sadly, we can't get 2 Lydias. You can only have 1. That is a damn shame. Wukong is another character I would absolutely love 2 of. Maybe someone like Newt. I think everyone wants 2 Newts because that just opens up speed farming like crazy. Obviously, we can't have 2 Marius. That's a shame. One interesting one would actually be Inquisitor Shamail. I've got 2 of them built because before I got like better teams, I would use 1 in each of my Hydra teams, and it just prevents the whole pest happening with the, is it the Head of Torment? The one that puts fear on you and just ruins your day. You know, there's no real rhyme or reason to who you must absolutely have 2 of. Just 2 champions you enjoy using. That's, you know, this is your game. You've got to do what makes you happy and what's kind of fun for you and how you play. What I might want 2 of, you might think, oh, why would you want 2 of them? I don't need it. Or maybe you've already got 2, in which case I am incredibly jealous. So that's all for today. It's kind of always ever present, but you know, you don't actually have to use these last 2 features. You could just ignore Unbinding and the Token Trader. That's absolutely fine. Faction Guardians should always be your #1 priority before you go empowering. And as for the sparring pit, use it. It will save you a ton of energy, a ton of time, and it just means that when you're not sat playing this game, you are still earning rewards. So thank you very much for watching. Please feel free to like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.